All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. I just released a video talking about album of the year candidates and choosing my album of the year. I should have made that video a week later because Nas and DJ Premier just dropped Light Years today, and oh my gosh, it might be in that top 5 already, man. What's going on, everybody? It is Brax. You know who it is. They Here and There podcast. I'm back, man. Another video. Hope y'all enjoy it. I'm truly in awe, man, of what DJ Premier and Nas just put out today. I woke up, actually I didn't wake up, at midnight Eastern time. I listened to the whole album. The second minute came out, I already had it pre-saved on my Spotify, and so I was listening from the second it came out, and I ran the album all the way through. And I was like, goodness gracious, man. Put this in my top 5. For starters, as soon as I listened to My Life Is Real, I instantly was in love with the beat. I instantly was in love with the production. I was like, yep, Premier is back. This is that style that we have missed. And he still has it after years, decades of being a top producer in the game. He still has it. And I immediately listened to this and I said, yeah, this is going to be an absolute classic. First song in, I knew the whole entire project was going to be a classic. And I was not wrong. And that's just the first track. I go to the second track, Get Ready, and immediately heard of the famous NWA sounds that we heard from F the Police. Like, these beats just contain so many classic sounds, man. I feel like we've just been in the 90s. This whole entire year of hip-hop, some of the best albums, I feel like we were just throwing back and going back in time. It's crazy. And we all knew Nas was going to come with crazy flows. I mean, he's done it all his career, and every single project he releases, and he is one of the very few rappers in the game that I will say that I've noticed never sounds the same in any project. Everything he's talking about is new. Some of these rappers, they just recycle bars, you know. Everything he says is new. It's unexpected, man, and it feels just fresh every single project he comes out with. And what's crazy is he's been doing that with so many different projects over the years. So it's so wild to see him do this over and over again with over 20 something projects that he's released over the years, man. To be able to withstand test of time and not anything just proves why he is one of the best MCs of all time, straight up. And then you go to New York State of Mind Part 3, which obviously has a lot of expectations behind it, considering the fact that New York State of Mind 1 is one of the most classic, best hip-hop songs that has ever been released. As soon as I saw there was going to be a New York State of Mind Part 3 on here, I was like, oh my gosh, this could be legendary. And what's wild is I'm listening to New York State of Mind Part 3 for the first time last night, and I'm thinking to myself, this is not the type of gritty, hard, Premier, you know, New York State of Mind type vibe that I was used to seeing compared to the both of the other New York State of Minds that have released, right? The two other New York State of Minds have been just hard, gritty beats where Nas is just flowing about all the bad, all of the stuff that goes on in New York, man, the stuff that just makes it as hard-nosed and tough as a city that you got to live in to be able to get through, right? But the New York State of Mind starts and all of a sudden you just hear a Billy Joel sample off the rip and you're like, whoa, this is different. This is different. And I was not underwhelmed by it for that, for sure. Through listening to the entire song, the beat sounded so much different than the other New York State of Minds that I released, but I'm not saying it's bad. The first track I ever listened to by Nas was New York State of Mind, and I fell in love with that song. And through listening to the Part 3 version, the very first listen I had, I was like, this is not what I remember. I'm not really rocking with it. Am I not rocking with this? Like, this is supposed to be the track of the album, and I'm not really rocking with it. But, you know, you got to listen to every project again, every song again. And through second, third, fourth listen, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is growing on me very, very fast. And with that being said, I don't think it's as good as New York State of Mind Part 1. I don't think it's as good as Part 2. Definitely not as good as Part 1. Definitely not as good as Part 2, but it's still good. It's a good song. Still love when Nas talks about just shouts out New York in so many ways. It talks about that gritty lifestyle and just how it feels to come up from living in New York, which obviously I can't relate to, but I do like learning about that. So I think it's very cool how he's kind of kept that going with the Part 3, but I don't think it's as good as Part 1 or 2. You guys let me know how you feel about you know, Part 3 compared to Part 1 and 2. I'm curious. Nonetheless, I can't get over Premier's scratches, man. They're so clean. They've always been so clean, especially when he's talking in pause tapes about how he makes beats and how he started creating beats, which is so interesting because I was like, man, what goes into the mastermind's mind himself? So that was really cool. Just saying this right off the bat right now while it's on my mind, Junkie is probably my favorite song on the project as of now. It has that type of vibe I was waiting for. It has an Ab-Soul scratch, and I was like, whoa. I listened to that and I was like, yo, Premier scratch and Ab-Soul. And believe it or not, I had never even heard of the song it came from. So I looked it up this morning, and I think it's what is it? It's Dat Sound Good by P-Ron, Ab-Soul and Mac Miller. That song was so fire when I listened to it this morning. But I heard that scratch and I was like, dang, that's so clean. So that's probably my favorite song on the album so far. It's just this 90s boom bap DNA coming back in 2025. I mean, late 2025. This album will probably be nominated for Grammys in 2026. Obviously, it can't be nominated now, but I think this album should very, very much be taken seriously in terms of like in 2026, the Grammys. I'm curious how it'll do next year compared to whatever is released next year, but yeah, definitely throw that in the Grammys for next year for sure. I mean, Nas is just back in his Hall of Fame form, man. This is exactly what we needed to end the year off. 2025 has been such a good year for boom bap. I said that in my last video talking about albums of the year, but it really has. Boom bap is back. Nas is back on his legendary late career run, man, with, you know, King's Disease, you got Magic, and then you've got Light Years, you know, to top this off. I mean, he's back. He has never left the pinnacle. He always will be on the pinnacle, and he's one of the greatest of all time. And he talks about all the legendary stuff he's known to talk about, including like success, leaving a legacy, survival, fatherhood, loss, longevity. You know, he talks about the world changing and what it means to grow up as a kid right now in this world, and just delivering perspective, man. That doesn't sound in any way bitter or preachy or nostalgic, but just real right now, current. And it's a masterpiece because of that. And you also got him giving credit to female artists in the game today on Bouquet, where he's just talking exclusively, shouting out so many different artists throughout the entire song. I couldn't name how many artists, female artists, he shouted at during that song. But I rock with it, man. The production is top tier, 10 out of 10. Criticism is always, you know, what we can expect from Nas, which is 10 out of 10. Some of the greatest ever. Gosh, if I would have waited to record the album of the year video a week late, this would be in there. It's definitely going to be in my 2026, assuming, you know, it holds up, which I hope it does. But at the same time, I hope there's some more boom bap 2026 coming out, and maybe, you know, somebody could take its place. We'll have to see as time will tell. But yeah, this album is legendary for sure. Yeah, and I'm just so curious too, and I'm gonna ask this question to anybody who can answer. I'm curious to see what you guys think, but like, how does an artist, a rapper, for example, a hip-hop artist like Nas in this specific example, how does somebody release music year after year, album after album, year after year? He's released so many different albums, and still after all these albums that have came out, still put out new bars that have never been heard, new play, and new catchy, like double meaning bars that go so much deeper beyond the surface level and sound new and don't sound repetitive. Like, how does someone like Nas just, how is he able to not recycle bars over and over again and for all this stuff to sound new? You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious to see what you guys think about it, because there's so many different boom bap albums and artists that, let's say they've released so many albums to a point where it starts to sound a little repetitive, and you're not really getting that same kind of feel, that same kind of feeling when you listen to their music, that same kind of, you know, novelty. And Nas has never been in that category, for me at least. He's always been in that category of dropping something new, and it's always felt new, and it's, you know, never seemed the same. So I'm curious as to like how artists do that. How do you think artists do that? And is that a key skill to have as an up-and-coming hip-hop artist or country artist or artist in general to be a long-standing successful artist in music? We got to dive back talking about Premier and where he ranks in terms of best hip-hop producers of all time. Is he in that top 5? Is he top 3? Is he top 1? Where does he rank? Because he for sure has proven, obviously, over years that he's one of the best ever. But with this new project, does this jump him up, or does this keep him where he's at? How does this make him, you know, where does this rank amongst his best projects in terms of production? And Nas mixes so much. He talks about introspection, just like a bunch of slick braggadocio, cinematic detail. It just has so many quotables and replay value bars that won't age. And he's not reaching for social media. He's not reaching for current trends, man. He knows what he is. He knows he's the greatest of all time. He believes that. And he's dropping exactly what it is, hip-hop excellence. And it's stuff that is going to be relevant now. It's going to be relevant in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and it's still going to be listened to by hip-hop heads. And it also appeals to It appeals to the old heads, which makes them feel validated, and then it also gives younger fans a blueprint. He's a legend, one of the greatest ever. I want y'all to hear, I'm curious, man, how do y'all feel about this project? Let me know how you feel about this project in the comments. Is it fire? Is it some of his best work? Is it not? Just let me know. Give me a rating, drop your opinion in the comments. I'm curious. I'll be honest, this might be some of his best work. It's crazy because Nas has timeless hit after hit. This might be some of his best work, though. That's all I can say. Appreciate you guys for watching the video. If you do, like, comment, subscribe. New podcast episodes coming very soon. I got a couple pretty big name people coming on here very soon that I'm trying to work out, get it all scheduled. But if you guys enjoyed, once again, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about this album, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.